Before I start my day, I was sitting up here trying to decide if I was going to do an audio series on red flags. And when I started to pray and meditate about it, I was like, well, how many audios are going to be in the darn thing? Because usually I have a set amount in mind, and I don't want to shortchange you guys. So I think what I'll do is I'll just do periodic audios, about the red flags on a regular basis. And then over time, maybe a little bit later on, I'll pick out the ones that are most popular based on your response and put an audio series together. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about one of the red flags, and this is in regards to relationships. And I'm giving this advice because what I'm doing is I'm trying to help you all save time in relationships. I'm trying to help you save energy because there are certain things that you can look for. Let's say that you've been involved in a relationship for a while, let's say a year, 2 years, or whatever the case may be, depending on the intensity of the relationship, on how much you've been around this person. Everything seems to be going fine. You've gotten comfortable with each other and everything else. And every now and then you might have a little disagreement, but, it wasn't to the point where, okay, we'll agree to disagree and keep it going. That type of situation. Let's say after a while you notice that person's been kind of pulling their energy and their time back a little bit. Now you notice this, but you don't think anything about it because all of a sudden you start thinking about, their job situation changed, or, they got this other personal situation going on with family or friends, so I understand that. Okay, things do come up. But if you have a situation with family and friends that comes up, it usually lasts only a certain period of time, and when it's done, it's done. It's not something that's going to go on for months and months and months. And if it is, then that means the people involved are they're really going through something, and it's just out of control. But let's say you notice this person has pulled their time and energy back. Then you notice that their communication style has changed a little bit. Every time they talk to you, they're barely talking. Or when they do, they start finding little things wrong with you. Now, mind you, you've been with this person months, maybe years, seen them all the time, been with them all the time. All of a sudden, that one thing or those two things that you have been doing the whole time is a problem. It could be, and it's usually something that's small that really is not earth-shattering. It really doesn't determine if a person lives or dies. It's one of those things. It could be a situation like, let me just throw something out there. I notice that you always leaving your underwear on the floor. And, I'm not knocking anybody who leaves their underwear on the floor. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't do it. But anyway, just as an example, this person from jump was leaving their underwear on the floor at night before they went to bed. You're the type of person that keeps a very clean home. You don't like stuff all over the floor. I don't like stuff all over the floor. That's my preference. But you've been with this person 9 months, 10 months, almost a year, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, them underwear being on the floor is a problem. Now, there's two problems with that comment. First of all, you as a person who's complaining about that, you have issues with communication. Because why are you going to wait that long to even say something if it bothers you that much? If it bothered you that much, why are you waiting 9 months to a year to even say anything? And secondly, what's the real motivation for you saying that? Then all of a sudden you just getting all in a huff about it. So it's little things like that. It could be something like, oh, you left dishes in the sink, or the dishes aren't clean enough. Okay, you've been doing dishes the same way since y'all got together 2 years ago. All of a sudden it's a problem. Things like that, people. Things like that. It's not huge, groundbreaking things. These are just little things they decided to nitpick on. Like I said, that it's an issue anyway, because if it wasn't a problem from the beginning and this is the way you were from jump, all of a sudden it's a problem. So that's a red flag right there that something else is going on. Another red flag is they start picking arguments with you for no reason. They will purposefully do something or say something to disrespect you, to get an argument out of you, so that way if you argue, they will have an excuse to leave your presence. It's like, okay, they may have Joe waiting on the other side. This lady may have Joe waiting on the other side of town, And Joe is the side dude, and y'all had a date for 9 o'clock tonight. But see, you over here with your boyfriend Gary, and you trying to figure out a way out so you can go see Joe. And you are looking around, and all of a sudden you just pick this huge argument with Gary at 6:30 because you know you got to hurry up and get home and get ready so you can go see Joe on the other side of town at 9. So what you do is go ahead and because you dumb enough in your mind to actually think that Joe is a better pick than Gary. So while you with Gary, since everything is everything, you decided, okay, you're going to pick a fight about something. Something that was said ages ago, an argument that y'all had and put to bed, you bring it back up. Something that you notice that Gary said or did wasn't even grounds for an argument, but you picking fights. You pick a fight with Gary to the point where you get so upset, well, I'm just going to go home. Okay, and as soon as you get in your car and get ready to go home, you're like, okay, good, I can go see Joe at 9 o'clock. You see what I'm saying here? These are just examples. So those are two red flags flying to kind of let you know that person's no longer in the relationship. They're not interested. They're on their way out. And I'm not saying that there's another person involved. There may not be another person involved. This person could have issues with commitment. This person probably realizes that, you're not the one for them, which is fine, but there's a way to exit the situation. There's a way. There's a way to exit the situation so you could do it respectfully and that person still has respect for you. There's a way to do it. And some of y'all just don't get it. And there are some people that are so arrogant and full of themselves, or they're just emotionally remedial, they will actually turn around and drop someone and come back later on and pick them up as if nothing happened. I mean, these people, these are the ones that need to go see somebody because they don't have any concept of what it's like to be a human being. They don't have any respect for others. It's all about them. They're very selfish people. So I just wanted to tell you about the two red flags. Those are the two red flags, the two signs that a relationship is about to end. One is where they take a certain behavior or something that you do or say that you've been doing the whole time, all of a sudden it's a problem. Okay, that's the number one thing. Something that you've always been doing or always been saying the whole time is suddenly a problem. That's red flag number one, that they want to get out the relationship. Red flag number two is when they're picking fights so they will have an excuse to leave your presence. Because that's what the goal was in the first place, was to get out of the way. And a lot of times the reason why they want to leave your presence is because they're either interested in someone else or they're seeing someone else. So they want to go ahead and they want to cut down the time with you and then eventually ease their way out of your life so they can go ahead and be with the other person. And I'm going to tell you 9 times out of 10, because the way that shit went down, it's not going to work out with the other person because the way things worked out on that end. So they thought the grass was greener and they wound up going to that person, and then eventually they're going to wind up coming back to you because they're going to see that that third party was not worth the effort. It's up to you whether or not you want to take them back or anything. If you want to let that energy back in your life, that's up to you. But yeah, those are a couple of the red flags. And periodically, as I encounter these, or if I recall any of them in previous relationships, whether I was the perpetrator or the victim, I will go ahead and give them to you. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. And don't forget to walk in power, peace, protection, and prosperity.